In this video, we're going to take a look at the Takara Diaclone DA-100, the Sky Fortress, and we will create the robot base. When Takara finally started showing DA-100, we could see what the combined robot form would look like with DA-100 atop DA-95. Now, as the Sky Fortress alone, it looks really neat. You know, like this kind of flying fortress with all these different cannons and little vehicles inside it, similar to DA-95. But the fact that now we can combine it with the lower half just was really exciting. And seeing it in robot form, it looked really good. Now, these toys are really complex, especially, the Sky Fortress and the land battleship. And so Takara released these little animations showing how they combine and how they go together and transform. But then they did this stop motion, showing the guy coming up the elevator, getting into the seat, the transformation from the Sky Fortress into the giant robot form. And it just markets and sells this toy so well. I mean, look at it grabbing the giant laser off of its back and kind of tucking its hand away, and then it becomes this giant, super laser arm. It's just amazing stuff. So I knew I had to have it. A lot of people, I think, did. So I looked on Big Bad Toy Store. But last time their shipping had taken a long time, so I decided to go through AmiAmi, get it straight from Japan, suck it up, and see what the shipping would be. In the end, it was a lot. You can see my calculations here, but the yen was still weak, so I got a 144 yen to the dollar, so it ended up being almost about the same it would have been through Big Bad Toy Store, but I avoided sales tax, but had that giant shipping fee. But I'm glad I did it, because I got it kind of early. Here's the mailman dropping it off on the porch. Needs a signature. Ooh, a little ding to the box. That had me kind of worried when I got home to see it. But look at how big the outer box is with all that paper. AmiAmi did a great job. And then the inner box of the box, everything looked great. It looked shiny. And the box is beautiful. Look at all that packing material. The images in the box were great. Lots of kind of, just showing the transformations, little details that I couldn't read because they're in Japanese. But everything's just illustrated so well. This little inner tray was kind of shaken up a bit, had me a little worried, like, oh, are there pieces missing or whatever, but everything was there. So this is the tray just with the two smaller ships, some of the cannons that go on them, and all the different things like the seats and the little figures. And then here's the instruction books with the magnetic stickers. And then here is the main body of the Sky Fortress. You can see over there is the head, and then it's got the two cannons below it, and then the main body. Look at how well packed that is. Even just the head alone is gigantic and just so detailed. These cannons also are just beautiful in and of themselves. Really, really stiff joints, ratcheting. And then the great manuals, as usual with Diaclone, really nicely printed. Lots of detail showing things. Some of these, I find the diagrams a little hard to follow sometimes, but they're pretty good, and you can use that kind of Google Translate trick on your phone if you want with the camera. Works really well. Just going to flip through and just show you how it shows you how to combine the DA-100 with the 95 to make that kind of like super fortress base, and then how to transform that into the giant robot form. And here, the other booklet, this just kind of like sums it up, almost more like marketing photos, but just such a beautiful toy. Here you can see my son holding this. He's a little guy, but just makes that cannon look that much more gigantic and awesome looking. And then here's the cool effect when it pops out. Very, very cool. So much detail, so much, just functions in this. So here's the head section. This looks almost like its own ship, and I thought it was going to be able to detach and kind of fly around, but it is kind of bonded or like tied into the Space Fortress, and you just really flip it up for the reveal the face. And then here's that tray again, so you can see there's a bunch of like the little ships and the other little parts. And then over on the right, those are the clips that help the robot stand up. It's so big and so heavy that you can lock these in to kind of hold the joints from rotating and putting extra pressure on the ratchets. Pull out the giant body of this thing, the main Space Fortress. It's really heavy. It's surprisingly heavy. I'd almost say it feels heavier than the DA-95, but you can see all the detail in the panels. It looks very functional, lots of like structural kind of details, like you'd expect in a Diaclone piece. And the windshield is just, next level. I thought the bridge and the windshield on DA-95 was pretty big, but this is like 3 times as large. Lots of little compartments, reminiscent of DA-95. So you can put the other ship in there, kind of like a cool little docking bay. And then these are brilliant. Just these kind of elevators that, kind of bring up the little mini ships. Now, this is a really important part. It's this landing gear. So the landing gear kind of rotate down and into place. And when they're down like this, the kind of gray tabs on the side can lock into the DA-95. And then if you rotate them back up, it kind of locks it in place. So that's nice to know that it's secure. And here's the bridge. Look at that with the elevator. It's like a full-on, like, giant bridge. Oh, almost broke my brand new toy there. I want to include that just to make sure people are careful with that. That did not pop off smoothly. And so there's a little bit of assembly, but almost nothing. I think I just popped in these guns. You pop in the chairs, and you have to place the stickers for the magnetic stuff on the floor so that your guys can kind of stand in with the magnetic feet. In this next part, I want you guys to hear the ratcheting. It's so strong. I mean, that's not going anywhere. And then here is some of the sticker application. So it's not too difficult. The diagrams in the manual aren't the best. It's a little hard to find them sometimes, but just take your time. The recesses are perfect. They indent the plastic where these go to the exact thickness of these stickers, and you can't even tell they're there. But the placement was really good, so you could have guys around the bridge. And then I thought this was really neat. They put a sticker on the hand, so you could kind of have one of your little like Diaclones look like he's standing in the hand of the giant robot, like you always see in the anime movies. And there it is. It's these little details that just makes like the Takara Tomy team just like they just must love this stuff. The passion just shows through in all these details. And then look at this cool little windy bit that is revealed if you open those 2 doors in the front. And then you can raise and lower the captain, and he kind of gets this like screen that pops up. Totally reminds me of the aiming reticle from Star Blazers or Battleship Yamato, and that crew just looks great there. So here's some more detail looking at this back area. So that ramp actually pulls down. It is pretty tight, or was tight on mine. So you really got to give it a little elbow grease, and then closes up, and that one ship stays in there. And here are those brilliant little docking bays. So it pops up. Then the floor kind of, like moves forward to meet where the helicopter or the other ship is. And then it retreats back inside. You push it down and it stays in place. And then this other ship, this helicopter, it's awesome. It folds up, the rotor blades fold up, the tail splits, and it becomes this kind of compact form. And then just like the other ship, you just slide it in, and there it got a little stuck. But you can see like, they really think of the functionality. I mean, they didn't have to have that like part slide out or, have it really line up, but it's just great. These little details. It really feels like all those things as a kid, you watch on TV and stuff like that with Star Blazers and Battleship Yamato. And there it is. So there's the Sky Fortress next to DA-95, the land battleship or dreadnought. Just both amazing and impressive toys on their own. But here's the big payoff. This is why we're here. This is why we got these. And you can see it just seats perfectly. It's beautiful. Just seats in there. And then you just turn up the landing gear, and that locks in those tabs, and you can't remove it. I didn't try it, but you could probably lift the entire thing by grabbing the upper air battleship. And then just looking at all the details, the way it combines. So this is a form, I guess. It looks a little strange, it's like so top heavy, but still pretty cool. So now let's transform it. So we're turning DA-95 into the pants. I was talking to Brian from Realm of Collectors, and he mentioned how this is like the pants, and then DA-100 is like the shirt. So I really like that. It was pretty funny. So we're getting the legs or the pants ready. You just kind of like bend it up, and again, really good ratcheting. And then it's all in the instructions. You'll have to get the manual from DA-95 to do this part. But nothing too scary or tricky. just a lot of rotation. And beautiful engineering again, the way, all the railings and things close up. Now you'll notice here that I've got DA-99, the add-on pack for the DA-95 that makes the runways like wider. But Takara's engineers have taken that into account, and it still fits in perfectly. Now we're going to look at those ratchets again, or the kind of parts that pop into where the ratcheting joints are. So you can see here, they just kind of pop in really easily with friction, but they hold the robot in its form like really well. Glad they thought of this, because this thing is really heavy. And so here it is in all its glory. You can hear my son's reaction to it here. Wait then. Whoa! Yeah, whoa. It's pretty awesome. It's the size of like a small child, as big as a jumbo Machinder. I've got some of the big 24-inch Shogun Warriors, but this is more massive. It's just thick. And you can really, pose it well. The articulation with being able to rotate the thighs. Here I've got it next to some of the other, smaller Diaclones I have, which were kind of big, but they're just dwarfed, and the little suits are just dwarfed. But all that detail, it's just crazy how this robot is just covered with detail. I put a little suit up there and a little Diaclone next to the head just to give it some scale. It's almost like the Statue of Liberty or something in 1/60th scale. Just really impressive. It goes together so well and really forms like what I consider like a really, really well-proportioned and good-looking robot. As someone who just loves collecting Japanese robot toys from the 70s and on, this is just going to be a really big part of my collection. You can see it there next to Mazinga and the Shogun Godzilla. And we used to, battle our Diaclones against Godzilla. But, man, with this new guy on the Diaclone side, it's going to be a tough fight. I think, we're going to have to pull out a few Godzillas to face that. And you can see just from a kid's point of view, this would just be like an amazing toy. I mean, because of the size, it's just awesome. But I will say my son gravitated to the Great Mazinga, the one, like I had as a kid. And just being able to fire the rockets and stuff like that, it's just really fun, So maybe the Diaclones will get some of that in the future. So I think that's it for the video. Amazing toy. If you could swing it, make it a part of your collection. It's just one of a kind, once in a lifetime kind of piece. They're not going to make anything bigger or better than this. I can't imagine that happening. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope we'll see you in the next one. And Diaclone.
Takara Tommy.
And then like aim it. See if you can shoot that down.
What? Wow. I only got one. What? That was easy. Now who can I aim at?